More than 2 years after this conflict started, the humanitarian situation in Syria is nothing short of catastrophic. There is a widening gap between the humanitarian response that is being delivered on the ground and the humanitarian needs in absolute terms. And this is why the ICRC is coming up with increased ambition for humanitarian response. In terms of size of our budget extension, we are calling for 62 million Swiss francs, 50 million of which are for our programs in Syria proper, and the rest goes to Lebanon and Jordan. We have 3 logistical warehouses in Damascus. We are about now to activate a new warehouse in Tartus, and we are also having more and more teams spending more time in the field, such as Aleppo, Idlib, Hama. We will have also an office soon in Tartus. We have doubled our response, our budget for Syria. This includes doubling our food response for people displaced or some vulnerable civilian resident communities. We will also increase the distribution of household essentials for displaced families. We will also significantly boost our medical response in order to be able to cross front lines and extend medical support to wounded people in the conflict. In the field of water and sanitation, we will also increase our response, be it Syrian Arab Red Crescent and ICRC team have to work in a very complex environment where security conditions are daunting. To ensure our security, we have to build our acceptance. To be able to build our acceptance, we need to interact and engage with all the sides of this conflict. This, of course, applies to the government forces, the security forces and state forces, but also the various and numerous armed opposition groups that are active in Syria. Today the conflict is extremely fragmented, and this is one of the biggest operational challenges for the ICRC. If I give an example of a field trip from Damascus to Aleppo, before the conflict it was a 4 to 5 hour drive, straightforward on a highway. Today we have to foresee 2 days of travel. We spend an overnight in Hama, and we have to meet with more than 40 different armed opposition groups, some of which we know from our previous contacts, but others we have to discover on our way to our mission, and we have to explain the purpose of our work, why we are there, our mandate, the need for us to work in full impartiality and without any precondition, and try to work and deliver our humanitarian response according to the needs that we observe on the ground. With regards to the use of chemical weapons in Syria, the ICRC can neither confirm nor deny its use, simply because it was not confronted directly to its consequences. Should this happen, we will certainly have a bilateral confidential dialogue with the parties involved in this. With regards to the international humanitarian law, there is no ambiguity at all. It's very clear. The use of chemical weapons is completely prohibited under international humanitarian law, so this is something very clear. But I think that this issue that took a lot of traction in the media should not divert attention from the daily use, excessive use of force in this conflict, touching densely populated urban areas, rural areas, and this is something that we are confronted with on a daily basis. If today we are still discussing the major humanitarian catastrophe in Syria, it is because parties to the conflict and the humanitarian community did not manage to find a political solution to this conflict. Humanitarian organizations cannot solve this. We deal with the consequences of this. We try to alleviate the suffering of people and support them in every way we can. But this cannot prevent a political solution to take place. And we hope that this Geneva II initiative will yield positive results. We hope that this will improve the situation, will come up with a halting the hostilities that will have an immediate positive impact on the civilian population who are extremely affected by the violence of this conflict.